So there's been some questions that have come up about the Tork Motorsports downpipe, why we per se use pie cuts in our downpipe. Okay, so the biggest reason for the pie cuts, as you see here on the table, we've got a factory downpipe, we got a 3-inch 90, we got a 2.5 90 that's just a tad bigger, and then we've got a flange for the downpipe, and we have a pie cut piece. So this is a piece that connects directly to the flange. So if you'll see here on our downpipe where the flange is, there's a neck down in that area. Now there's two reasons for this. One, I'm going to show you a flange with our piece on it. So that's kind of how it sits. The reason we do this primarily is for nut clearance. So when you start welding on the outside of the pipe, like we have on this one, see how we have the welds? We need room for the nuts to clearance there when we weld it and everything else. If you've seen the 845 downpipe, the 845 downpipe has dimples on the sides of the pipe for clearance for the nuts. So I'm going to take this pie cut off that comes on ours. I'm going to put the 3-inch up here so you guys can kind of get an idea. Now you see how close the nut is? Okay, that nut, you don't have any room to put a weld in there and put a nut on top of it. So you got to go through and dimple the sides for nut clearance to get a wrench on it and stuff like that. We prefer not to dimple our 3-inch pipe. Hence, we use our swedged pie cuts. Now we could build it out of 2.5. 2.5 would fit in there. It'd be a little loose. We'd have to swedge it up a tiny bit, but there'd be a ton of room for 2.5. And 2.5, if you look down here, matches pretty much the factory angle of the OEM. 2.5 would be ideal. Here's a 3-inch. 3-inch, your flange to pipe diameter on your radius is too far over. So the only way to really address that is to cut it up inside the bend, which is considered an offset cut. It makes the pipe oval. When you start cutting straight into the bend, you get an oval opening out of the pipe. We're already restricted for room on our flange, so if we start ovalizing that pipe and making that pipe larger, we're going to have to dimple it even more for nut clearance. Hence, we could do something like this and have it swing out further and have an angle cut here like one of our other competitors and have the flange up here. Again, we're going to have to dimple the pipe in order for the nut to fit. So, swedged 3-inch we prefer, and one of the absolute biggest reasons, and you'll see this in our downpipes, is that we can weld on the outside, but also the inside. When you have mating flanges that are welded on the inside and the outside, the strength is inherently greater. In this example, you can see we have it welded on the inside and on the outside. The welds on the inside and the outside make this particular section impossible to separate from the pipe. You would have to have an actual pipe failure in order for that to happen. We're the only company that offers inside and outside welding because we have a swedged piece that slips inside on our flange. That makes what I feel our part superior to our competitors, because we don't have to dimple the pipes. We don't have secondary flanges that would leak, like an adapter flange where you go from stock turbo to a V-band on the downpipe. Ours literally bolt directly to the stock turbo. So anyone who has questions about why we pie cut our downpipes, okay, if you want to take a look at the pipe angle in relationship to the flange, we get a perfect pipe angle in alignment with the factory exhaust system. Flange to flange to flange, our dimensions meet the OEM specifications without us having to move outside of that. Hopefully that answers the questions on why we have pie cut downpipes for our Tork Motorsports, damfastdd.com downpipes.